Pros, save more on the materials you need to get the job done inside and out at Lowe's. Right now, get 10% off in-stock Trex Naturals decking, now available in more styles. Plus, get 15% off select custom entry, interior, and storm doors. Then, we'll deliver it all straight to your job site to help keep your jobs moving. Get the brands pros trust, priced right, and ready when you need them. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/27. While supplies last. Selection varies by location.
You're listening to KEMPIRE here on the KEMPIRE Radio Network.
Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go now. Welcome back to the KEMPIRE channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. This is our live recap of a pre-recorded live recap of Summer House. I always want to say Summer House Martha's Vineyard because, you know, that's the only Summer House that we watched from the beginning and recapped. And I know all you're going to be like, oh, I miss Summer House Martha's Vineyard. Let it go. Let it go. All right. But no, yeah, you know, maybe they could do something else. Maybe not Martha's Vineyard, but maybe spearhead the cast with a KJ, Mia, and Ciara, because I love their friendship and their bond. But we shall see them probably for season 11 of Summer House. So we've been covering this scandal, this scamanda of it all. We've been covering it since it began here on the channel. So if you missed any of our coverage, be sure to check out all of our past videos talking about this. But I told you when the reunion happens, I was going to recap it and talk about it. And the reunion happened last night, and it did not disappoint. If you had to rate the Summer House reunion from 1 to 10, let me know in the live chat or in our poll, or if you're watching on another platform, or if you're watching the replay of this, let me know who brought it and why. The only right answer is Ciara. Ooh, especially the way that it ended. Especially the way that ended. I had to write down, I had to rewind, just so I could get every little thing that she said. I don't understand why y'all don't understand Capricorns are not the ones to F with. They will read you for filth. When motivated, they will read you for filth, okay? And Amanda, that man didn't even defend you. You sat there. Look, I believe Amanda has always been a snake. I think there have probably been signs and symptoms of her being a snake for a long time. I can see how Ciara may have been blindsided by that because she was blindsided by Wes. And apparently, Wes is a sneaky character. Lindsay called him out. She's like, this is what you do. You suck people in. You're very good at that. You're a good clout chaser. I have to say, I enjoy Lindsay. I have not watched Summer House chapter and verse. I've seen, of course, things and heard about the scandals. I know about the Lindsay and Carl of it all. Do y'all want to see them get back together? No, right? It's kind of nice having what they have now. Carl's in a different place, but Carl's now sober. So he's a very different person. Not really, I guess. Maybe not different. He's definitely more zen than anything. Anyway, I've digressed. But I enjoyed seeing Lindsay be a part of the show. And I know she's probably one of those kind of characters that people love sometimes and hate sometimes. She's probably polarizing, but that's what makes her a great reality TV star. But I enjoyed her at this reunion because I think she's needed to kind of navigate keeping this reunion interesting and not going in different directions. She's the only one that, for me, when it comes to this cast, delivering and chiming in when necessary. I feel like a lot of the people are just sort of there, like a Ben or a Bailey, even though that Ben and Bailey situation, I didn't see that coming. I have thoughts. I didn't feel like anyone else was sort of there. They're just sort of like, I mean, and it could also be because of the Ciara, Amanda, and West of it all. So everyone's just like, I'm not saying nothing. And I do feel like production did a good job of balancing this out because I was like, the majority of the season isn't even about Amanda, Ciara, and West. So are we going to start off this reunion by talking about that? And that's exactly what they did. They start off this reunion with a moment because you know they have this new show, In the City. Some of you said that In the City was actually good the first episode. I haven't watched it. I'm not promising to get into that. I much rather watch something else, to be honest with you. I'm so over the Wes, Amanda, and Ciara of it all. Word on the street is that there was like a 3-hour or maybe 4-hour conversation between Kyle and Wes. Guys are able to move on from stuff like this very easily. And I'm not saying that's a healthy thing because a lot of them, you know, they just don't have the emotional capacity to hold on to any of this stuff. I especially don't think Kyle does. Kyle looked really good. And all of you always compliment Kyle on his skin. But I was looking at Kyle. I'm so glad he cut off that mullet. I was looking at Kyle. I was like, Kyle he looks really good. And I wonder if it's getting rid of Amanda. And look, I'm not one of those people. I'm not part of the Bravo universe that's, oh my God, Saint Kyle all of a sudden. Because we saw Kyle and his bad behavior over the summer and over the years, the last 10 years. I've seen all of it. I've witnessed some of it. Okay. Yeah, we talked about it. We're not going back there. So I'm not one of those people, but I'm looking at Kyle. I liked his suit. First of all, everyone looked really good. The only terrible person that was dressed at this reunion was West. He was the worst dressed, hair terrible. And I'm not just saying that because he's the villain in this situation. If he looked good, I would have given him credit. Everyone looked great. Ben looked great. I loved Kyle's interpretation of what his reunion suit would look like. His hair and his skin, flawless. Mia, gorgeous. Ciara, gorgeous. I love how Ciara arrived, and she was the only one that was in the garage. Everyone else had to be on the street with everybody else, so paparazzi could capture them. I would even give Amanda. Amanda looked really good. I thought she looked really good. Who else was there? Andy looked good in his pink suit. I still don't understand why Andy's hosting this reunion of 30 and 40-year-olds, but anyways, we digressed. We digressed. I'm not going to continue digressing, okay? Focus. But In the City was filming their confessionals. Lindsay was filming her confessional when Kyle came in and said, "Did you see this?" So this is when West and Amanda put out that joint statement where they didn't mention Kyle or Ciara in their said statement that they had ChatGPT put together. So Kyle interrupts Lindsay's confessional. And look, reminding myself about the history about this show and how Kyle and Lindsay were friends and it was bringing their friend groups together to create Summer House. And now the same thing is happening within the city. So they're close. There is a closeness there, and they're both Leos. We talk, if you're new here and you're being introduced to the channel for the very first time, we talk astrological signs, okay? Yes, we take it very serious over here, but in a facetious way sometimes. Some of y'all take it very seriously especially when I'm hard on you. But Leos, I have a Leo moon, so I have a soft spot for Leos. Do I? I'm sure the sensitive Leos will be like, no, you don't. You mean to us too. Oh Lord, here y'all go. But I like these Leos. I like Kyle and I like Lindsay. I don't like Amanda though. This is why you need to know people's entire birth chart. What's the rest of her? What's her moon and rising? Trash. Probably. Okay. So Lindsay then reads Amanda and West's joint IG statement. Then they end up getting, I'm so glad the cameras are rolling because then they end up getting Mia on the phone. Jesse was on the phone. Then Carl was on another phone. All right. Kyle talks about how close he was to Wes and things like that. And some people said that they were never really close. But when he talks about how close they were, I mean, obviously it was a friendship. They were hanging out with each other. And I have to say with the Summer House crew, it doesn't seem like they're just summer friends. Like they do hang out and meet up during the off season. And maybe that's why this cast works. So Kyle talks about, all the different things that he's done with Wes and things like that. It's just, it lands different. It's different when this kind of stuff happens, first of all, in your 20s or with a boyfriend or girlfriend. We're talking about two individuals that were married. How long were they married for? I mean, a few years, but they were together for like 10 years, almost 10 years. So it's just a little bit different when this new guy who hasn't even been part of the group comes into the group 3 years ago and now is having an affair with your wife. Not your girlfriend, your wife. And yes, they were, trouble in paradise. And when they got together, Kyle and Amanda were separated. I don't even think it matters about that part, to be honest with you. I think the bigger issue here is the friendship aspect in regards to lying to your friends, because that's the other element that we find out is that Wes was lying to Jesse. Jesse had no idea. Amanda had a whole text exchange. They talked about that during the reunion, the text exchange between Amanda and Ciara, and Amanda denying anything was happening between her and West. So they start off this reunion, which was an extended, uncensored reunion. This is what they labeled it. Part one was extended and uncensored. I'm sure the Peacock version is going to land a little bit differently. I have not seen the Peacock version. of the reunion, but I will be watching it because I can imagine that's going to be extra uncensored because you're going to be able to hear the curse words. I hope they add a little bit of extra because I really thought, and maybe they wanted to be fair to the Bravo universe in regards to those that don't have Peacock and show them that. But can y'all give us a little extra for us Peacock users? I mean, I watch both on Bravo and on Peacock. But can y'all give us a little extra? Something else? Okay. So Carl says that he was picking up on how touchy Wes was with Amanda. This is when Carl was on the phone. So they were already noticing things. Even Ciara was noticing things, hence why she sent that text to Amanda. So they were already sensing something happening between these two. And based off the summer, especially that kiss, the kiss on the side of her head, there was something going on back then. Do you guys believe their timeline? Because during the reunion, Andy asked about the timeline. When was your first kiss? When did you guys have first sex? My thing is, do you believe that these two had sex for the first time after their joint statement? Y'all already have shown us that you are liars. So why would we believe you that you had sex after your statement? All of a sudden, you had your statement. Now y'all can sleep with each other. I love how Ciara was calling out Amanda for her hypocrisy because 1 minute you're saying you're not sure what it was. That's why we didn't want to say it to you guys. But then when you're confronted about, like, why would you do this? Because, we had strong feelings for each other. So were they strong feelings or were you unsure? Do not get into an argument with a Capricorn because they're not dumb and they're good people to have an argument with because you're going to lose. All right? Anyway, so that's what happens before the reunion. Kyle says that Amanda played it off like it happened just literally. Because when was this filmed? This was filmed in April. That statement came out, in March? So she was playing it off like it happened like a month ago. Even though a lot of the group said that there have been signs about how this may have happened maybe during the summer, maybe during the fall. We shall see. I guess you're going to have to watch In the City to see some of this play out. Do you guys think that West is going to return to Summer House? I feel like the house is just going to be weird now. But I guess it was fine before because I didn't watch the last couple of seasons since they had their big breakup, Ciara and what? I don't know if I can call it a breakup because were they ever really together? But I wonder how it's going to be. And I think Ciara is able to and will be able to navigate watching, doing this show with him being on it and just ignoring him, right? Because she did it before, because it seems as if she had been pretty much ignoring him and keeping her distance from him up until this past summer. Because he seems so relieved to finally be her friend. I wonder if my speculation about this newfound interest in Ciara during the season, because they made it seem as if, was this some sort of storyline that he was trying to create? Was he just pandering or breadcrumbing, as Kyle said, to the fans? I don't know. But I pointed out when we've been talking about this, that whole situation with West and Jesse, when Jesse says, would you be upset if I made out with Ciara this summer? And I feel like that's when West was like, nope, you're not going to have her this summer. Because he probably sees potential for them actually. Oh my gosh, could something potentially grow from that? Could they end up together? He's a narcissist. And there's something in his eyes watching this reunion that gave me like, oh, something. There's some people out there, y'all. I know I might be dramatic with this, and y'all can call me dramatic, but I'm gay, so. Ooh. I am dramatic. But there's something in his eyes that gives me the creeps. And it's not because he's funny looking. It's not because of this whole situation. I was just watching his eyes. What was that movie with Macaulay Culkin when he was a little boy, but he was like a devil? There's something in his eyes about that. And even when Lindsay called him out during the reunion, like, you're a clout chaser, you do this thing, you reel people in and people believe you. And there's something there. And I don't know if it's just like this little glimmer in his eyes that people sort of fall for. I don't get it. I really don't get it. But that glimmer that people saw, I saw evil. I saw evil. I was like, but okay. Anyway, So the cast starts arriving to the reunion. So they're all starting to react. Wes and Amanda are going to be in their own room. And mind you, they're all hemmed up in that room when they arrive. Like nothing's happened. Like no remorse, nothing. Nothing. Wes is like, I'm a little nervous. And Ciara's just like, I'm just like, these two. So Carl, in speaking to the newbies, he says that he's never seen anything like this in his 10 years of doing this show. KJ says that he and Wes are not friends anymore. It's so interesting, and I think it's because oh my God, especially when we find, oh my God, this made me tear up. Especially when we find out what KJ went through in the fall about admitting himself to the hospital because he had self-harming thoughts. And now he's been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. When he said that Ciara and Mia pretty much were there for him, literally there, almost every day. There's something about something like that when someone shows up for you like that I get why he's like, I am Team Ciara all the way and I'm done with you. And also, even when he was talking about this during the reunion, KJ, the guys were like, like, I'm so sorry, man, that you have to go through that. You even see Jesse get a little emotional as well. Did y'all pay attention to Wes' reaction? Narcissist. That, and look, everyone's going to react differently. Look, I'm not going to say that when someone's emotional like that, I'm like, oh my gosh. But there's something like the signs about who Wes is as a person. Literally during this reunion, Ciara says it's been 3 years and people still have no idea who you are. That's because it's those types of people that you have to watch out for. Because you never know who that real person is. I'm sharing you all my initial thoughts because I literally just watched it. And I don't want to forget any of the moments that stood out to me because sometimes you'll start going through the notes and then you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to mention this. So I know I might be all over the place, but that's fine. This is my recap. Okay. Just say. Let's take a sip. And I haven't done just a summer house recap. And for those that are just joining us, this is pre-recorded. Apologies. Busy. It's been a busy week. I got a lot going on. All right. I got a lot going on. Good things, right? Good things. But a lot going on. And I'm trying to be proactive and say, you know what? I know I have a lot going on. So let me work late at night and get these things done so that you guys have something to watch and be entertained by. Be entertained by. Well, with that being said, we still have to pay the bills. So shout out to our sponsors for helping us pay the bills. Shout out to Factor. Okay, I get it. It's not a new year, but it can still be a new you. As you know, we've partnered with Factor many, many times, and this is no different. But let me paint a picture for you. Hunger strikes, and you're exhausted. I know it, especially on a busy day. There's something healthy in your fridge or pantry that you should be making, but you don't have it in you. Relatable, right? For me, eating healthy isn't a willpower problem. It's a setup problem until I found Factor. As you know, I have a busy schedule. Sometimes there's breaking news and I do not have the time in me to cook that meal or prepare for that meal. With Factor, I'm hitting my nutrition goals this season without the planning, grocery shopping, or cooking. What I also love about Factor is that you're getting great quality meals, dietitian approved meals. Factor has meals built around your goals, whether that's weight loss, overall nutrition, more protein, or GLP-1 support. For strength and workout recovery, check out Factor's Muscle Pro collection. As I've mentioned many times before, Factor meals are crafted with functional ingredients from lean proteins, colorful veggie, whole foods, and healthy fats. Factor bans 175 plus ingredients, no artificial colors, no sweeteners, no high fructose corn syrup, and no refined seed oils. And most importantly, convenience. Ready in 2 minutes, Factor shops, preps, cooks, and delivers straight to your door so you have more time for everything you love this spring. Head to factormeals.com/Kempire50 off and use code Kempire50 off to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscription only while supplies last until September 27th, 2026.
See website for more details. More details on Factor and your discounts will be available in the description. Thanks, Factor.
Thanks to Factor for sponsoring today's Summer House Season 10 reunion recap here on the channel. This is pre-recorded for those that are just joining us. Don't forget, guys, as well, join our mailing list because that's where I am spilling tea, giving you heads up on exclusives. You get an inside look to my recent birthday trip. Join today because you're missing out already on a lot because we're not resending a lot of these mailing stuff out. So don't miss any more. So join today. We're almost at 1,000 individuals that are a part of our mailing list. So don't miss out on Kempire's Inner Circle. Head to this particular link, thekempire.com/join. You have to go to that exact link, thekempire.com/join. Shout out to those of you that have become members of the channel, that some of you that have been members of the channel for years. I don't take that lightly. You help to keep the lights on here on the channel so we don't have to rely just on sponsors or ad revenue or anything like that. So thank you to those of you that are Team Kempire members, Senior Royals, Royal Court members. Join today if you're not because you're missing out on exclusives as well here on YouTube. Head on over to teamkempire.com/join. All right. Thank you. Let's get back to our Summer House reunion recap. So the cast is arriving. Everyone looked great. Can we just say that again? Everyone looked great. Ciara looked great, but I wasn't surprised that Ciara looks great because Ciara normally looks great at these reunions. Lindsay looked great. The only thing I didn't love about Lindsay, whoever did her makeup, there was just something off about her makeup, and I don't know if it was maybe the lighting and they weren't prepared for that. Her dress, though, looked gorgeous. I loved Kyle's outfit, his casual suit. I loved Ben's suit as well. Didn't love Ben, though, during that segment. I was like, wait a minute, Ben. Bailey looked great. I love the green that she wore. Levi came out, and I'm still wondering why. I thought she was coming out and that she was going to add something to part one. She kind of came out, and she was just there. I was like, and Levi, this is no shade to you. I'm just pointing out the obvious that you were kind of there this season, but not really there. They should have just brought out Dara, to be honest with you. But anyway, I digressed. Dara was in the group shot. Levi wasn't even in the group shot. Oh, damn. Levi wasn't even in the group shot. They could at least put her in the group shot. Why was she there? Why did she get all gussied up not to really have anything going on? But all right. Who else looked good? Carl looked really good as well. And he's looking healthy. I said Amanda looked good. Wes really was the worst dress. Just ill-fitted suit, sweating. Y'all notice that he was sweating? He got little drips of sweat come down. He was nervous. And when Ciara was tearing to Amanda, he was mute. And Ciara called him out for it. She was like, yeah, you see how your man got your back now. Anyway, speaking of Ciara, Ciara says that she feels more betrayed by Amanda when speaking to Andy Cohen before they even come out. But when they do come out, Wes says that he's gotten a message that his phone was hacked. Your phone wasn't hacked, sir, because his D-pics are making the rounds on the internet. Yes, I saw them. And I still wonder what exactly is there special about Wes. What is it? Because I've seen it. That's not special either. And apparently he's saying it's a picture of his flaccid penis. But here's the thing. He says that his phone was hacked. No, you probably were sending these pictures to random people, and that's how they got out. One of those random women were like, nope, Team Ciara, and put it out there. That's what I believe happened. That is exactly what I believe happened. What do y'all believe? I really do believe that's what happened, is that he was sending it to random women. Look at this picture of them. Lord have mercy. She looks, Amanda. I don't think Amanda was prepared for this reunion. Ill prepared. Anyway, so he says that his phone was hacked. And so Jesse's like, yeah, you're I've seen it. So he shows Wes the picture. And everyone's just like, what are we doing right now? What are we talking about? It's weird, though. Why are we talking about your flaccid penis on the internet? All right. Ciara says that she feels that she's been misunderstood by Kyle, that she's misunderstood Kyle all summer. Because you remember, she was hard on Kyle this summer. She had Amanda's back a little too much. And I'm not saying that because of what we know now. I have been saying this and I continue to say this. I felt like, first of all, we're talking about two married individuals. Do not involve yourselves or give advice for, oh, you need to leave that man on a show where you guys are together and friends with. Like, I wouldn't do that in real life, never mind on a show. And I felt like she was doing too much. Ciara was doing too much, getting herself involved in their relationship. But she feels like that's how she shows up as a friend. And she gets emotional when talking to Kyle about it because she's like, I was so hard on you this summer and I feel like I misunderstood you this summer. But Kyle, Kyle has a very soft heart. He really is. Like, that's why sometimes I wonder why he was so harsh with Amanda, because I've seen a different side of Kyle, both on the show and real life. I just can't imagine that's who he is. And I think that's what Ciara is now seeing. She's like, I think I misunderstood you this summer because the snake was in your ear. The snake was in your ear. Like, I don't see any remorse or accountability coming from Amanda. And I'm telling you, like, it's hard for me to believe that no one in this group saw signs of her being a snake before. And you guys that have been watching it since season 1, you have to tell me. I know she's been stupid when it comes to being in this relationship with Kyle, but there's got to be more. There's had to be signs and symptoms of this woman being a snake. But that's my opinion. Look, that's my opinion. And I'm sticking to it. Okay? All right. Let's move on. So the cast comes out to the stage. Of course, we just shared our thoughts on the reunion looks. Wes talks about his nudes leaking. All right. Sarah calls out Amanda for being able to finally say their names, because when Andy asked her, what are you looking forward to during this reunion, Amanda? And she's just like, I want to address Kyle and Ciara and everything that's been going on. I'm paraphrasing. That's not exactly what she said. And I love the fact that Ciara in this moment clocked her. I was like, oh, it's amazing that you can finally say our names, because in that statement, a lot of people pointed out, including Benita from Southern Charm. She was like, you can even say her name in this public apology. So Ciara calls her out for it. All right. When KJ's asked, how's he doing during this reunion, KJ says that he's sad and that there's a lot of fraudulent activity. Okay, so let's get into the first segment of the Summer House reunion. So Wes denied the allegations that anything was happening between him and Amanda on Watch What Happens Live back in March of this year. Ciara says she suspected things back in January because Amanda's location was at Wes. So that's when they start talking about Amanda. Amanda said, Wes was really there for me when everything that was going on between me and Kyle. And Ciara was like, I was also there for you. And she's like, hey, yeah, I know you were. And she was like, I would text you. I would ask you to hang out. And you would not. You would not respond. Suddenly something's wrong with your phone. But when Mia put us in a group chat, all of a sudden you're able to respond. Yeah, so Ciara was clocking this behavior for a while. So she says that, you're answering other people's texts and you don't want to hang out. So this leads to a back and forth about whether or not Amanda has friends or not. And she's like, you don't have a lot of friends. And Amanda's like, I do. Just because I don't post them on social media doesn't mean that I don't have friends. And Lindsay's like, you were posting everything on social media. So Amanda swears that she has other friends besides Katie DeLuca. Okay. How did I remember that name? And I hope I remembered it correctly. I think so. They showed a picture of her too. I guess it's one of her other friends. So they have a big back and forth in regards to that, whether or not she has friends and things like that. So Amanda tells Ciara to F off. Ciara says, you shut the F up. And she says, I don't see your man sticking up for you now. And she's right, because he was just so mute. He was so mute. But do you think that he should have said anything? Whatever is happening between Amanda and Wes, I don't think they're together like that. I think they might be dating, but I don't think they're exclusive. But can you be? I mean, I guess you can. You can be whatever you want. But I was about to say, can you be exclusive to someone that's married? I guess you can. Not legally, but yeah. So I guess they're dating, and she's still married. So Jesse says that Amanda and Wes denied the rumors, but he had no idea, because I guess some people speculate that Jesse may have known, but Jesse's like, I had no idea. And y'all believe him, right? I don't think that Jesse's a liar. I will say this though, because I've been sort of like, oh, maybe Jesse and Ciara could have something. Jesse can't be serious sometimes. Like when they were talking about the flaccid penis, I was like, and this is why, it wouldn't work with Ciara. He's a little goofy, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Y'all want to see Ciara in what? No, I guess there's too many men in the sea. You don't get out the house. Look, get out the house. I was happy to hear that Mia and Scott broke up. And it's not that I want people to break up, but based on what she described their relationship to be, I was like, yeah, Mia, you're wasting your time. There's certain things that you want in life, and he's not able to give it. Be done with him. So they've broken up. Anyway, I'm all over the place. So Ciara, so Ciara says that Wes lives a very different life on camera versus what he does off camera. And she says no one knows who he really is after 3 seasons. Yeah, because he's probably like more sinister than anything. I mean, based off his actions, based on how he treated Ciara during his first season, and then this in his 3rd season. Ciara claims that Wes had a girlfriend, some girl named Mia, that he mentioned on Watch What Happens Live that gave him that horse hair tie. So she says that he had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend claims that they were exclusive, though Wes says, he was only seeing someone. They weren't exclusive. I think he was telling her one thing. I think he was telling Amanda another thing, but okay. Mia then says to Amanda, which we heard in the leaked audio from the reunion, she says to Amanda, she's like, Amanda, because Amanda seemed to be okay with the fact that she's like, yeah, I knew that he was dating this girl. So Amanda's just like, you went from being a married woman to one of West Side bitches? No lies were told, Mia. That was probably one of my favorite lines from the reunion besides how it ended. When she said you went from a married woman to one of West Side bitches. If you saw how Amanda has been chasing after Kyle before, marrying him, you're not surprised that she is okay with being a side bitch. Are we? No one is surprised when you think about it. Especially with how bad Kyle treated her before they even got married. Amanda says that you can't help who you like or who you're attracted to. She says that, she wasn't married anymore because Ciara was like, you're a married woman. She's like, I wasn't with Kyle. And so she gives us an update on the divorce. They haven't filed for divorce, but she's secured counsel. And they're waiting to hear back from Kyle's counsel. Okay? She's like, and we heard this audio too. So she says to Ciara, because Ciara's like, you're a married woman. And in the state of New York, you are a married woman. So Amanda's just like, oh, do I need to stay celibate? Oh, wait a minute. So when you guys were having sex? When were you guys having sex? Which we end up finding out because Andy then asked her. Okay, first of all, Amanda denied to Ciara that anything was going on, but they were talking. But they were talking at the time in regards to her and Wes. So she's saying nothing happened. So this is where Andy says, when did you have your first kiss? She says, end of February. What, February 30th? Look, February 30th? So apparently the first time they ever had sex, they've had sex. Ew. I don't even want to envision that. That's gross. So the first time they ever had sex was after their public statement. Okay. And no one believed it. Everyone's like, yeah, sure. Convenient. That's when you guys first had sex. Okay. So Amanda says, am I not allowed to pursue something I feel strongly about? And that's where I'm confused. And that's where the rest of the group was confused as well. How could you feel so strongly if you're still trying to figure it out? Make it make sense. She was talking out two sides of her face. Because how could you feel strongly about this situation, but at the same time, you're like, we're just talking. We don't know what it is. We were confused. You're not going to get the truth out of these two. Definitely not going to get the truth out of West. He doesn't even know the truth. So Ciara says, maybe I should so Andy was just like, how do you think that how do you want this reunion to end? Like, what do you want to get out of this reunion? And she was like, based on Amanda's responses, I don't have high hopes. But then she says, she's like, I just want to get all the details before I put them in the ground and cover them up with dirt. Ooh. Before I cover them up with dirt. I was like, okay. I see you, Ciara. I see you. All right. So then in the second segment, so that first part of the Summer House reunion was really about the Amanda, West, and Ciara of it all. So it starts off really, really, really strong. And then we go into everything else because there are other things, there are other people on this cast because everybody's quiet. I mean, I give it to Lindsay, I give it to Mia for chiming in when necessary, but for the most part, everybody is quiet. And it's just really happening between Ciara, Amanda, and Wes. I was concerned that Ciara would focus too much on Wes, and I was like, it should not be about Wes because I'm over you and you having feelings for Wes. I don't want to ever see that ever happen again. It really should be about your betrayal, about Amanda's betrayal. Okay. All right. So let's get into this second segment. So the second segment, Mia talks about living in the same building as Ciara and their friendship. And she says, she loves having Ciara in her life, especially at this particular point in her life, because, she's had a lot of loss in her life and she's in a very different chapter. She also talks about being thankful and saying that she needed to hear what the medium had to say about her mom because she was worried about her mom and that kind of thing. So she says, she doesn't regret doing the medium. I knew she would say that. So Mia, we also get an update that Mia and Scott broke up. She says she broke up with him and she's living her best life right now. But Ciara's like, Mia's problem is that she likes to take in strays. So she could be hanging out with her group of friends and having people and she's like, yeah, but what about you? So Ciara, you also can be accused of taking in strays, i.e. West. Okay, so that's something you both could work on. Both of you could work on that. Mia also talked about meeting Ciara, not the singer, but Rihanna, and you may have seen the picture that they took together. Rihanna is a big Bravo fan. I saw Rihanna was in the comment section talking to Bose about she hasn't gotten her invitation to the wedding. Rihanna, you ain't going to that wedding. Stop it. And I saw Dorit was responding. Dorit, oh God. I have to say, though, I think if we heard Rihanna's takes on Bravo, I don't think people would agree with her. Just based on some of the things I've seen Rihanna say, I was like, I don't know if I would agree with a lot of Rihanna's takes, but that's fine. We don't all agree here. But there's some of her takes I'd be like, that's interesting. But that's, she's a Pisces, so there's that. Ooh, she probably would never watch our recast because like, oh, none of this Pisces shade. Very sensitive. It's all right. All right. Then Ben, you remember the situation that happened between Ben and Bailey, okay, during the season. Bailey had a crush on Ben, but that quickly shifted when she made that joke about Ben and Amanda because he had a very big reaction. They got over it, but at this reunion, it seems as if they were not really over it because Ben tries to downplay. He's like, I really hadn't spoken to Bailey at the time. And Bailey and Levi were like, that's not true. Like, we had conversations. We were all talking. But Bailey clocks Ben and says, you have a problem with women. You like to reprimand women, but when you're talking to men, you're all lovey-dovey with men. She's like, you even do that with Sabrina. And then we see some never-before-seen footage of him talking very harshly with Sabrina. I was like, oh, Ben is sinister. And the rest of the group is sort of like, Ben and Sabrina were probably dating during the summer, but he was not owning the fact that they were dating during the summer. I was surprised when he was trying to downplay his relationship with Amanda because wasn't Amanda the one who said in her confessional that he was flirtatious with her on text and he was trying to sleep with her? Did we forget about that? Why didn't that come up at the reunion? Is that going to come up later? But why would that come up later? This was the perfect opportunity for it to come up. Why did we not talk about that particular part when Amanda said that during the season? Hence why I'm glad I watched the season, because if you just watch the reunion, then you're going to be like, you're not going to even think about that. But I watched the season and I remember Amanda saying that. I was like, wait a minute, so what happened? Because remember, they all went skinny dipping at the friend's party or wedding situation in Italy. Was it Italy? It was Italy, right? And I'm trying to understand because the way Amanda made it, the way that Amanda was telling it, she was like, he was being overly flirtatious. So I'm surprised that didn't come up. But anyway, I have this speculation because I always say when men are abusive to women. Not saying that Ben is abusive to women. When men have a very strong aggressive nature with women, I always say there's an undercurrent of in the closet that's going on there. Ooh. And I'm not saying that about Ben, but the way that Bailey described it, I was like, oh, he's only aggressive towards women like that? He always reprimands women? And when they showed the different examples, I was like, okay, I got one eye on you, Ben. And then they showed that moment when he was all emotional for Kyle. I was like, okay. And I'm not saying that you can't be emotional for Kyle and not be gay. But I have to say it's the other element that Bailey brings up that his react. It wasn't even just like it was his aggressiveness towards women that made me kind of go. I feel like there are men that are in the closet, not saying that that's Ben. I don't want to speculate on him, but what I'm saying, I'm just pointing out what they brought up because I never thought about that about Ben before until Bailey pointed out that he is overly aggressive with women. And I was like, a lot of times it's those are the ones that are in the closet fighting their natural feelings. Just saying. When you embrace your gayness, you love women. You just don't want to sleep with them. Guys, you're just joining us. This is our Summer House, I keep wanting to say Martha's Vineyard, Summer House reunion for season 10 recap. It's pre-recorded, but we're live and we have a live chat. So shout out to our live chat, shout out to our King's Guard, shout out to our channel members, shout out to our subscribers. It is subscribers only. Don't forget to like the video. It's easy, free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. And don't forget, you can hear an audio version, a cleaned up, a quick version, not quick, but a cleaned up version of our live recaps and special episodes, including Club KEMPIRE, where I drop tea and talk about shows that I don't talk about anywhere else. Maybe I'll talk about Testaments as well in the next episode. So stay tuned for that as well. That episode is going to be a little bit late because you can see I have an extra live that I'm doing. And I got a lot of things going on this week. So you eventually will get a Club KEMPIRE episode. But there's so much, if you've never been a part of it, there's so much of the backlog that you can get into. All right. But today is also brought to you by our friends over at Row. Today's live is sponsored by Row. I have been loving hearing all of your stories about those of you that have taken advantage already of Row being a sponsor here on the channel. You've talked about how it's changed your life, how you've lost weight that you've been trying to lose for a very long time. I'm loving hearing your stories. And a lot of you have also shared how this has allowed you to take advantage of GLP-1s that are actually affordable. A lot of people think that GLP-1s are expensive. However, it doesn't have to be. And our friends over at Row allow you a variety of different options on how you can take advantage as well. Row has helped a lot of people lose weight. That's why they have the lowest cost options out there, whether you're paying with insurance or cash. Row's free insurance checker makes it easy to see if you're covered. Just submit your insurance card and Row handles the rest. There's no paperwork, no waiting on hold, and no confusing phone calls. Row's free insurance checker will send you a comprehensive report of your coverage details so that you can make a decision that's right for your goals. And most importantly, if insurance doesn't cover your treatment, there are still options. Row offers low-cost, cash-pay, FDA-approved GLP-1s, including newer dosage forms like daily pills and multi-dose pens. Row offers a multi-month membership option in addition to multi-month medications that help members prepay and save on their GLP-1 medications. Just another way Row is working to increase access to life-changing medication. Some other important details when you work with Row: their cash pay options ship right to your door. No pharmacy visits required. If you decide to move forward, Row can help you understand if GLP-1s are right for you and your goals, but that's just the beginning. That's the difference with Row. They're giving you the education that you fully understand what you're taking. When you become a Row member, you'll have support throughout the process. You'll have access to your provider on demand for any questions. Join over the 1,500,000 people who've trusted Row on their weight loss journey. If this was an option that I needed, I would have used Row. But what I've been loving is hearing all of you that have been using Row, even some personal friends that have been using Row off of our discount.
If you would like to take advantage, here's your opportunity. Go to ro.co/Kempire to see if you qualify. That's ro.co/Kempire to get started on Ro. Go to ro.co/safety for box warning and full safety information about GLP-1 medications. All information will be available in the description. Thanks, Ro. And we're back. As you can see, I changed my hat just to let y'all know. Go to houseofkempire.com for the merch. You have Are You Okay merch available as well. But you can get these limited edition hats as well. So, I have my hat in here. Let me promote my brand, not somebody else's brand, right? Anyway, back to our Summer House Season 10 reunion recap. Again, if you haven't liked the video already, be sure to like the video. And everything Kempire, including our sponsor information, will be available in the description. No matter if you're watching or listening on the podcast. All right, back to this mess of a damn reunion. This reunion. Look at Kyle, though. That hair is hairing. The skin is skinning. Ciara is grimacing. And Amanda is crying. We will get to that crying. And West is looking like West. All right, back to this. Bailey says that Sabrina could do better in regards to the Ben situation, and she says she really likes Sabrina. She says that she doesn't know why he only pops off on women. Okay. Ciara then says because it seems as if Sabrina may have been a secret girlfriend. Ciara says that a lot of the guys in the house seem to have secret girlfriends. Who else? Who else besides West and Ben? Anyone else? Carl says he's not ready to date Bailey because then he starts talking about Bailey and Carl and, the kiss that they had during the summer. But they're not dating right now. They're just friends. But Carl, recently is sober. I don't know how long he's been sober, but it's fairly recent. He's had this new business. There's also a 10-year age gap between the two of them, which a lot of times women are a lot more mature. So it doesn't seem... I feel like she's going by his standards. I think she would date him in a second. But Carl's just like, I'm still working on myself. And he's not trying to do just the hookup thing. He's trying, I think the next person that he's going to be with is going to be someone that he marries. So everyone's sort of like, what's happening? So I wouldn't be surprised next summer, next season, we'll see more flirtation between these two, maybe even a hookup. I don't know. They seem to have a good vibe, but I don't know about Bailey. Bailey seems like I know I say, she's younger, but women usually are a lot more mature. I don't get mature from her. I don't know. There's something a little off about Bailey. Not in a way that I don't think she's great for the show, but how she deals with things. I'm like, she might be a little off, and maybe Carl senses that too. She's a little off. Do you guys think that Bailey is anything like Lindsay? Because I could definitely see there's still a little chemistry between Lindsay and Carl. Y'all see it? There's still a little chemistry between them. I don't think they should be together, but there's definitely some sort of chemistry. I mean, obviously. All right. So KJ, this is a moment during the reunion that really made me tear up. KJ talks about looking to Ciara and Mia as sisters, and he says, he hopes that his younger sisters would be like them. So then he opens up about, he talks about how they're like sisters, and which one is hard on him, which one lets him get away with stuff, and they both were like, neither one of us. But I thought this was really sweet because he's in this new role on the show, he's going to different events, and Ciara knows people at these events, and she has people at these events check up on KJ. Isn't that sweet? But I'm not surprised. But I thought that was so endearing and so sweet that they're looking out for him. And probably also because they know what happened in the fall. Because KJ opens up about checking himself into the hospital for self-harm for a week. And he says that Ciara and Mia basically came almost every day to check on him. Can you imagine? I didn't know that even happened. I didn't even know that happened. So the fact that he opened up about that on this reunion, and he talked about how that's how you know that when he says that those are his sisters and why he has a loyalty to them and why he can't even be friends with Wes after what he did. I understand when someone shows up for you like that is like family. Even it doesn't matter how long you guys have been friends. someone shows up for you in a moment of your lowest, you look at them very differently. And the fact that these two women, and then shout out to Black women, because this is something that Black women have always done. And I get why he looks at them the way that he looks at them, and why he says, he hopes that his younger sisters are like them. All right, so he opens up about that, and he also opens up that he was diagnosed while in the hospital. He's now on medication. He has bipolar disorder, he reveals during the reunion. I was like, oh, wow. And I wonder I'm assuming that he'll be back for next season, and I'm sure maybe they'll talk more about that week that he was in the hospital, because that happened after the summer. Oof, wow. All right, so we're rearing towards the end of the reunion, and at the end of this reunion, this is Ciara's segment. So Ciara's talking about, because during the season, we found out that she bought her family home, her grandparents' home, so she's been renovating it. It's still under renovation. She says that her mother has really spearheaded this renovation now. Mind you, remember, this house wasn't her mother's family. This was her father's family that didn't know that she was buying the house, but now they do. I'm surprised. Maybe I missed it. But did Andy ask about the father and his reaction to her buying the house? I don't think he did, because I would be interested to know what happened after that, because he didn't know initially that she bought it. So the house is still under construction. She says she has her mother spearheading the construction because it's really her mother's wheelhouse. Like, her mother was asking questions about it. So she's like, you know what? How about you take care of this? Which is probably like a relief. So I was like, I did all the groundwork and the layout and everything like that. I got enough going on, especially right now with all this drama. And now I'm booked and busy. She's got even more stuff. And I'm happy for Ciara. She's in an Old Navy commercial. She was in a Sonic commercial. She's going to be hosting After the Sun for Love Island. She was in a DSW commercial. She was in a Scary Movie commercial. I'm happy for Ciara. I think that is amazing. She was on the cover of Glamour magazine and she didn't have to pay for it. What? Who said, huh? Wait, huh? What? Oh, okay. Moving on. All right. So Ciara talks about that, and Mia talks about why she brought up the fact that, and why this was important for Ciara building this house and, buying this house from her grandparents. So Mia says that Ciara downplays her success, and that's part of the reason why she brought it up to the group in regards to her buying this house. And that's where KJ is like, he's so proud of Ciara and what she's been able to do, and he wants his younger sisters to be like Ciara. So Wes talks about being out of the loop, and that he, by the end of the summer, he found out about the house and things like that, and how important that was to her. Ciara says that people think that she has this hard exterior, and she doesn't want people to think that, but she's also tired of people giving people chances to screw her over. Okay. She talks about, because what we see at the end of the summer, we see a change and a shift in Ciara and Wes' relationship, and they end up making out during the end of the summer. And then he's like, there was some ear things. He's such a weirdo. There were some ear things, and everyone's like, what? I guess he was nibbling on her ear and stuff like that. Okay, Wes, you have nothing to say. And mind you, he's a Capricorn too, right? Bad representation. Bad representation. Okay. Kyle asked Wes if he's been breadcrumbing the audience. And I didn't understand initially what he was saying. I said, and I think maybe he used the wrong term. Because initially I was like, was he trying to put out there that something was going on between him and Amanda? But no. Ciara says that she feels as if Wes was creating a storyline, and he used this as a storyline. She was like, was this your revenge? Wes says that he never said that he was planning to get back with Ciara. And then they point out, but you were saying, Ciara's magical. Oh, Sabrina had told, I guess Sabrina and Ben were having a conversation about how Wes said that he had a crush on Ciara. What was he doing during the summer? Wes was being manipulative. He's definitely manipulative. I think Wes was trying to shift a narrative, create a storyline. One thing I did know about this whole situation from Wes's first season and how he played Ciara, because I remember reacting back then. I didn't cover or talk about the show, but I reacted back then. I was like, I know this funny looking mother father is not trying to play this beautiful woman. And I feel like he's manipulative. Even back then at that reunion, what was it, season 8 or whatever it was, reunion where he basically was he was being called out. I think it was Paige that called him out for being in the group chat talking like, oh my God, guys, we're having such an amazing season. Because of the big reaction to everything that was playing out. And they were like, this is our lives. You are in the group chat acting like a clout chaser, thirsty wannabe. I'm paraphrasing. So at one particular point, he was telling Ben that he had a crush on Ciara. Wes says that he said that he had a conversation with Ciara at the end of the summer or after they stopped filming, basically just saying like, I can't offer you anything beyond a friendship. And Andy was just sort of like, but how did you, like, action-wise represent that? And he's like, well, we didn't sleep together. Excuse me. He's like, well, we didn't sleep together. And everyone's confused by that. Lindsay's confused by that. She's like, you're so manipulative. You do this thing. You're able to convince people. You're able to pull people in. Ciara says that, I'm just going through my notes. Ciara says that Amanda would be perfect for Wes. This is the read of the century. She read Amanda down so many times during this reunion. Like, part of me felt bad for Amanda. Part of me really did feel bad for her because she was not ready for it. Because I think she was so used to Ciara being so kind to her, and maybe she thought on some level that Ciara would go light on her. Oh, but she didn't. Because Lindsay was just like, I don't understand, this dynamic with Wes. Because she's like, you're a user. You use women. You're going to do the same thing to Amanda. It's not going to even work out. She basically was like, it's not going to work out between you and Amanda. And that's where Ciara steps in. And she's like, no, I actually think it might work. And Ciara says the best woman for Wes is someone that's not going to check him on anything. And that's totally Amanda. She's very mute. She's going to be that weak figure that he needs. And he can always be the star in that relationship. Kyle's like, Ciara, that was harsh. Ciara whips her head around. She's like, that's your wife. She's not my wife. And Kyle was just like, I know. But he does have a soft spot because, again, that is his wife. That is someone he's been in a relationship for 10 years. I'm sure he said worse, though. Come on, let's be honest. This season alone, we saw Kyle say worse to Amanda. Let's be real. Okay, but he wasn't sober most of those times, okay? But can I read it again? Ciara says, no, I think that Amanda and Wes might work out. She says, the best woman for Wes is someone that's not going to check him on anything. And that's totally Amanda. She's very mute. She's going to be that weak figure that he needs. And he can always be the star in that relationship. And that Amanda's just looking at like tears in her eyes. Even Andy was just like, oof, that was rough. Look, that was rough. And then Kyle's like, that was harsh. She's like, that's your wife. That's not my wife. Ooh. I can't be mad at Ciara. And I know there are some people that be like, they still want to downplay Ciara's experience in the situation. You shouldn't. Especially when you watch the season and how hard she went for Amanda against Kyle and how she was being protective of Amanda and poured into Amanda. And I'm sure she's been that type of friend to Amanda over the years. But I'm just talking about this season alone. And for that person to betray her in that way and then to come at this reunion and to make excuses and not show accountability, because that's exactly what it is. And that's what Ciara calls her out during the reunion. She's like, you're trying to downplay what this is. And you shouldn't. You're not taking accountability here. And I was just like, damn. Like, I wish I could feel sorry for Amanda. And look, I'm not saying that the social media hate that she gets is right or anything like that. We're not condoning any of that. However, she shows no accountability. She really is a snake in the grass. And I would never be her friend. This alone, you think I could be friends with someone that betrayed me on this level? You went behind my back and then lied to me. Because there's a point during the reunion where Amanda and Ciara, they have a text exchange where Ciara clearly really believes that something was happening between Amanda and Wes, and Amanda was not telling the truth because she was going through everything in the text message. So you guys didn't make out, you guys haven't slept together, you guys haven't, hung out or kissed or anything like that. And she covered all that in the text messages at the time, and Amanda was like, no. Only for us to find out later that it really did happen. Again, I think she's over Wes. I think it's the betrayal of her friend more than anything. I don't know if they can repair their friendship, but let's be honest, because do we think Kyle and Amanda will be returning to Summer House? It would be interesting to see what season 11 cast would look like, because wasn't this new cast supposed to be sort of like a transition period so that the In the City folks like Lindsay, Kyle could move on to In the City? I'm interested to see what the summer is going to look like over there, because Kyle and Amanda aren't together anymore. I don't think the audience wants to see Amanda back. I don't think the audience wants to see Wes back. I know I don't, and I definitely don't want to see them together on Summer House, all hemmed up in a room somewhere. Ew! Look, ew. Just even the thought of them together. Ew. Even when they kiss, like when they showed the video of them kissing at that baseball game. Sidebar, speaking of sports, shout out to the New York Knicks. Come on. Congratulations to them. They won the Eastern Conference. Now they're going off to the NBA Finals. I am not going to get too excited. The last time they went to the NBA Finals and failed, they didn't win. The last time they went to the NBA Finals, I was in high school. So that was a long, long time ago. But I loved walking around New York and seeing people wearing their Knicks merch and stuff like that. Even someone had like a really cool shirt with Patrick Ewing. Like that's the Knicks I remember, with Patrick Ewing, Jamaican. But it was such a cool T-shirt with the side profile of Patrick Ewing. And I was like, look at that. It would be nice to see if the Knicks do end up winning. I would love for the New York Knicks to win, but they've gotten our hopes up so much before and lost. I'm just like, I don't know. Oh, where's Miss Sharon? Miss Sharon, this is our time to talk to sports. This is our time to talk to sports. Shout out to Teresa. Teresa, you're probably not going to even watch this recap. This is probably not one of the recaps that you watch. I saw her the other day in the streets of New York, and she was like, I will say this. There's been a couple of people that I've seen recently in a professional capacity that are like, are you on TikTok or YouTube? And I really, part of me wants to be like, no. Especially when it's in a professional capacity. I'm like, no. But I'm like, yeah. But I saw Teresa on the streets of New York, and I was like, Teresa, how come you didn't come to my live show? And she was like, I didn't know you had one. I hate when y'all say that when I see y'all in New York, but I told her the next one you better come to. She was like, okay. She was sweet though. I liked her. I really liked her a lot. She had a great personality. I love New Yorkers. Hence, I'm also a New Yorker, but I just love the energy of New Yorkers. Anyway. So shout out to Teresa. Shout out to all of you for being here. Shout out to our Kingsguard. Shout out to our channel members. Shout out to our subscribers. Shout out to our Kempire's Inner Circle. Join our Inner Circle, thekempire.com/join. Go to that exact link. Join our mailing list. Help us get to 1,000 Kempire Inner Circle. Friend of my heads. Join, because I got some more stuff to share with you guys. Just saying. So join today. A link will be available in the description, along with the links to our merch, but also our sponsors today. So be sure to patronize our sponsors as well. You know, that helps the sponsors to keep on coming when they see engagement with their products. So be sure to check that out. I appreciate you all being here on this special Wednesday live. It was pre-recorded, but it's fine. Okay, now it's late and I gotta do it all over again. And I mean, I think that's the only live we'll have this week. There's nothing else happening. I know you're probably like, where's the Friday lives? But there's nothing to recap on Friday lives. Just saying. So give me my Friday. We might have something special, but I'll probably be on someone else's channel, so stay tuned. I don't want to announce it until it's official, But yeah, I will probably be on someone else's channel, but I'll make the announcement. So make sure you guys are following our bulletin board here on YouTube and my socials and things like that. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Thank you all for being here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Happy hump day. Happy Wednesday. Happy Gemini season. Still happy belated birthday to me. Just saying. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching our Summer House Reunion Season 10 recap. If you enjoyed this, and if this does well, I'll do another one for part 2, and I'm assuming part 3. If it doesn't do well, I'm not talking about it no more. Bye, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Don't forget to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for more information on the podcast, head on over to KempireRadio.com.